Another edition of the Let's Go Ricky Roll podcast. Welcome, I'm Beto Duran, joined by Ricky Romero. We're inside his man cave in Southern California. We're going to take the show on location. Today's episode is about spring training. Now, Ricky, you played for the Toronto Blue Jays. You got drafted what year?
05.
05, right out of Cal State Fullerton. You just won the national championship. You were the 6th pick overall in that draft.
Mm-hmm.
You sign a contract, and then they say what?
I flew to Toronto. You signed the signing bonus contract, and you come to terms. Because when I flew there, we hadn't come to terms.
Oh.
I didn't know what the hell was going on. You know, I mean, like I said, I was on cloud nine.
Because you're a millionaire, right?
Well, not officially, not yet, but I was going to be. And when I got there, they're like, "Hey, we're gonna offer you this amount of money. Are you going to take it?" And I looked at my mom and dad, and we were in the hotel room, and I was like, "Listen, we came from nothing. I'm taking this. I'm not going to sit there and be greedy and try and get an extra whatever amount, you know." Obviously, the rumblings were that after I signed that, they're like, "You could have gotten more," but I was like, you know what? Whatever.
But don't you have like an agent or who negotiates? Not you, right?
No, the agent did.
They're not calling your dad like, "Hey, Ricardo."
No. And they're calling you. They're letting you know, "Hey, this is the amount of money that we're going to offer you. This is our final offer."
Because it's different now. Now in 2000,
there's slots now.
There's slots. So it's like if you get picked third, this is what you're getting.
This is what you're getting.
But back then, if you can negotiate all. Because I remember, what was it? Luke Hochaver wanted $10 million one year. And Pryor wanted a bunch of money.
And then he went back into the draft.
Yeah.
And
so you could do that. But you.
I was like, you know what? I'm ready. I'm ready to go out and fulfill my dream. So you sign. I played a little bit of short season ball, and then part of my contract was you get an invite to big league spring training. I don't think teams do that as much anymore, but
you negotiated that where it's like
okay, and I've never felt so out of place in a clubhouse. You know, when you walk into a big league clubhouse for the first time
because
ever.
you go short season, which is everybody's a rookie. Guys who just signed.
Yeah.
You're in Florida.
Most of them. We were in New York for short season, but I ended up in Dunedin, and you know, it's still some older guys, but none of those guys have reached the big leagues yet.
Okay.
And so the next year, in 2006, I show up early and.
Because there's a thing called pitchers and catchers report. That's where just you guys, and that's it. So you were invited, right?
Invited.
So you're not on the roster, you're not on the team, but you're allowed.
Like I knew I was gonna get sent down. There was no chance of me making the team. I knew it all.
Okay. Like it's like a reward kind of, or like a way to show
you. Yeah, probably. Yeah, it was like a way to say like, "Hey man, congrats on being our first pick. This is what it's like."
To show you the world. Okay.
Yeah. And I remember, I mean, you walk into that clubhouse, it's Roy Halladay, AJ Burnett had just signed that big deal with Toronto. So it was like the city was buzzing, or the team was buzzing. Benji Molina was the start. They had just signed him too. They made a lot of big signings. Yeah, he was probably one of the nicest guys that approached me when I got there. When I met him the first time, he came up to me and he's like, "Oh, Ricky Romero, Cal State Fullerton, huh?" And I was like,
because he played for the Angels.
For the Angels, yeah. So he's like, "We heard a lot about you guys, obviously being there." So he was awesome, obviously in Spanish, and it was him. My locker mate was, remember James Baldwin?
Pitcher.
For the
who
Dodgers.
Pitched for like 30 teams or so.
For the Dodgers, he was like.
And the White Sox.
Yeah, so he was like my locker mate. He was right next to me. Casey Jansen, I think, was. Yeah, we were all like in the same area. Ben Weber was part of that team.
Former Angel.
Crazy.
Dude, war number 77.
I've never seen somebody cuss so much after releasing a pitch as much as I saw him.
Independently, guy.
But you know what? Yeah, and it was just veterans like that. B.J. Ryan. I'm trying.
And you're what? 20.
Scott Schoenweiss.
21, 22.
Yeah, I'm 21. I had just turned 21 in November, so it was a few months into 21, and. It was just such a different atmosphere, and you kind of don't know what to expect because you're like, okay, how does this work? It's like, and you're looking around.
So what do you do? You just walk in?
You're a bit of a deer in headlights because nobody's telling you like Roy Halladay ain't gonna come up to you and say, "Hey, this is what we do around here." You kind of got to figure it out on your own, and you got to figure it out quick. Troy Glass was part of that team. He was kind of he was a little bit different. Like he was kind of like. Not very social.
That's what his Angels.
I'll be nice.
That's what his Angels teammates will say about him when they won the World Series. He was just different. UCLA guy. All right, let me take me back here. Now I'm thinking, is it like the first day of school?
Pretty much, yeah. It's just,
but
everyone knows, like, they're like, oh, there he is. Like, but at the same time, they're like, we really don't care who he is. Like, Roy Halladay did not give a shit
because they
about who I
can't help
was.
me right now. So it's like the first day of school at a brand, and you don't know anybody.
Yeah, yeah. And AJ Burnett is coming off whatever 80, $90 million contract he just signed. He doesn't care about the 6th pick overall. You know, nobody does. Like, Ted Lilly was on that team. Like I said, just veteran after
guys, and
veteran.
they don't care about you.
No.
All right, so you're gonna go to spring training. Where did you stay? Like, what do you do?
Well, I had to play. I actually.
Like, nobody tells you this stuff, right?
No.
Is there like a team hotel for you? Or
No,
something?
I ended up. Justin Miller, who was part of the Blue
Jays. Torrance High.
He was part of the Blue Jays the prior year. I don't think that year he was in camp, or he might have been hurt. I forget. But he sold me his place.
Okay.
He was nice enough. Like, he came up to me. He's like, "Hey man, I'm selling my place. If you want to buy it, it'd be a great investment for you. You know, obviously, you're going to spend probably a long time. You're going to stay here a long time, and we're moving into a house." I said, "Yeah, boom." So I bought it. Ted Lilly lived next to me. He ended up selling it to Casey Jansen. So we were.
Okay, so you had somewhere to go.
Somewhere to go, yeah. I had somewhere to go. I had no mattress, no TV, no nothing. So when I showed up, I slept on the carpet. Like, it was literally a carpet, and that was it, because my car had not got in there. All my stuff was packed with all my stuff, and then the furniture I was just gonna go buy. So yeah, man, it was.
Because you were just so excited to play baseball, you didn't think about being an adult.
No. But I was like, I can't ship a bed from here. Well, you can, but I was like, it'll be easier if I just go to a furniture store and buy everything and furnish this place. So yeah, I was sleeping. I slept on the carpet with like no pillow and no blanket. I don't think, because you just have your luggage.
Yeah.
You know, and I passed out and I woke.
So you didn't think about that?
I just knew the car was going to get there, like the day after I showed up. So my car ended up showing up. So I had some blankets and stuff.
But
like
that's
that.
the thing. Like, you just don't. You're 21. They don't teach you this.
No, nobody.
Because
because the easiest thing is, like, they have a hotel for you, a team hotel, but you don't want to stay at the hotel and have a roommate. And I said, hey, I bought my own place. It's my place. It's not like I'm renting it, or because sometimes it's mandatory. They're like, oh, since it's your place, it's like your residency. Then yeah, you go ahead and do whatever you want to say.
A few months before that, you were living at Fullerton with how many guys?
3. Yeah.
Paying for rent with a cashier's check.
Yeah.
No, with a money order from 7-Eleven.
Money order from 7-Eleven. Yeah.
And now it's amazing how your life
yeah,
changes overnight.
now you're dealing. It's not just. I thought it was just like, oh, who do I give the cash to buy this place? You're giving a mortgage payment.
You did not say. Wait, you did not say who do I give the cash to?
I mean, let's just get it over with. And a real estate agent, and then you're signing all these papers. It was crazy, man. And then, but yeah, it's just the reality of it. As a young kid, you know, you just don't know. Yeah, I mean, getting cable, getting internet, you know, having to call yourself. You know, nothing's being done for you.
You had no credit.
No, that's the other thing.
You had no credit. You're a millionaire on paper, but no credit.
When I bought my first car, yeah, they're like, oh, this guy you have no credit. They even called and they're like, well, can you speak to my financial advisor? And he spoke to him, told him who I was and what I did. And so they were like, called me right away.
They really leave you guys out there with nothing.
Yeah.
There really should be like a business.
But I mean,
helping you guys out.
You learn. I'm sure now it's different,
Yeah.
man. It's got to be different nowadays. And
I hope so.
And
I hope there's no more first rounders sleeping on the floor.
But yeah, I just remember like those spring training days where I was stretching and I'd look around and I was like, well, Troy Gloss. I mean, shoot, he just won a World Series with the Angels, and Scott Schoenwise was with the Angels for a long time too. So it was kind of surreal to be part of that. James Baldwin, watching him with the Dodgers, I was like, even though he wasn't a big name in that camp, he was a roster invitee. I was like, this guy's talking to me like I'm just a normal dude. Well, wait, these guys are normal dudes, you know. I think that's the biggest thing. And I remember, what was it? My first outing didn't go well. I think I gave up back-to-back home runs to the Philadelphia Phillies, to Victorino and somebody else. I forget the other guy. What's his name?
Welcome to the show.
Like right away. And then
Matt Stairs.
No,
okay.
Robertson was his last name. I forget his first name. Drawing blank right now. But yeah, so it was like boom, boom, and I was like, whoa. So then my last outing there before I got sent down, I faced the Detroit Tigers, and I remember striking out Carlos Pena. Okay. And Jason Phillips was my catcher. Okay. That game, and he was like, hey man, like, you know, you just struck out a big league all-star. I think he was an all-star at the time, and I was like, oh, like, yeah, that's cool. Like, but like everything happened so fast at first camp that I just didn't know what to do, what to react, like how to react. So,
but you knew where to go. You weren't late.
No, I wasn't late.
All right. What time did you have to get there? The first day.
I mean, I was always pretty good. I'm crazy about like making sure I'm on time. I like to be there early. I'd rather be safe than sorry. So I always just make sure I was there. I wasn't beating Roy Halladay though. I mean,
you got to like at 5 a.m, right?
Yeah. And I think one day, AJ showed up at 4:30 to beat him on purpose, and I don't think Doc was happy about that. That's just the way he worked. But like I said, it was crazy.
So
man.
you pull up to the facility, right, in Dunedin, and there's like a security guard, right?
Yeah.
And what do you tell him? Hey, I'm Ricky Romero.
I mean, they give you some kind of like pass.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So they
don't get the idea that hey, you could just show up and be like, hey.
No, they give you a pass that the security needs to see. You put it in your car.
You walk in the clubhouse.
Walk in the clubhouse. Well, it was on the minor league side because that's where we would start off and then move over to the big league side, which is further down the street. So I walk in there and it's like everyone's just kind of like looks, and you're just like, okay, where's my locker? You start looking around. You obviously know you're not going to be in the beginning. You're going to be somewhere in the back, stuck with like number 70 something, And I looked around, found it, boom.
What number?
I don't even remember. 70 something, I think.
70 something?
Yeah. I mean, it was just like I said, it was different.
But you're not walking out. What's up, guys?
No chance.
I'm here, bro.
No.
All right, let's go. What up, Roy?
I knew my place, man. I knew.
But have guys ever done that?
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean,
the savior is here.
Yeah. No, but as spring training went along, like every year, it just got easier and easier. But the first time, it's obviously different. In 2009, when I made the team, I was, I had just gotten added to the 40-man roster, and I knew I had a chance to break with the team. But there was also a big possibility that I was going to start in AAA. And I didn't do myself any favors because I struggled right off the get-go. And then I did a little tinkering to my mechanics, and which the pitching coaches there at the time had a lot to do with it. And we cleaned some stuff up, and next thing you know, I took off. And it was like, all right, we're going to give you one more outing, and if it doesn't go well, then they're going to send you down. Deal. Boom. Okay, one more. And I remember we went to Sarasota to play the Reds. They were there at the time. And I think I went like 6 innings. Deal.
Shocked.
Okay, one more. And then we go to Kissimmee, where the Houston Astros were at the time, and absolutely, I think I threw like 7 shut piece in spring training to try and make the team. And that was the game, I think, because I had bases loaded. I still remember I had bases loaded in that game, and I got out of it with no runs. And Cito Gaston, when he called me into the office to call me up, he said, you know what did it for me? That outing in that situation, because you were so calm. And I was like, yeah, man. I mean, I told myself if they score 1 run, fine. But if they score none, even better, But I wasn't going to bear down. And he's like, little things like that you don't think they're watching, but they are watching, especially with somebody trying to make the team. And that was special, when you get called in. And I mean, I didn't know what to expect, because it's like, okay, well, you did well, but you need to work on some stuff. Let's send you to AAA. But it was cool. Like I said, when they call you in and they tell you that you made the team, it was a special moment. But like I said, it took a lot of work. I was invited to camp my first time ever in 2006, and then in 7 and 8 I wasn't. I was going to minor league camp because you
already knew.
Yeah. You were just showing up for minor league camp, and you're part of the minor league process, and then in 2009, you're on the 40-man, so you automatically are invited to camp, but you have to prove yourself.
When you made the team that year in 2009, you said you thought there was a chance of you going to the minors.
Oh yeah.
So how did they tell you made it to the big leagues?
Well, they call you into the office. It's either a yes or a no, pretty much, and sat me down, and he's like, hey man, like, congrats, you've made the team.
Wow.
Boom, let's go. They're like, call your mom and dad and tell them to book their tickets to Toronto, because they're starting game whatever it was, game 4.
You're a starter.
Yeah.
So you're in game 4, you're going to Toronto.
Yeah, and we were in a 4-game series against the Detroit Tigers, I think, that year. Yeah.
See, that's cool. That's great. But what happened to your car?
Oh, I mean, they take care of that. They ship all the cars.
So when you're a big leaguer, they ship it for you?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, you still pay for it, but they have a truck, and they're like, hey.
What about when you're in the minor leagues?
The Blue Jays. I mean, I gotta give it to them. The clubby right there. Shout out to my boy Billy Warlow, in the minor league side. He does a great job.
Okay.
Where they would have like, hey, the guy's going to, where was AAA? To Syracuse. You're going. There's a truck leaving on this day. The guy's going to New Hampshire. There's a truck going on this day, and the guy's obviously Dunedin's right there.
Yeah.
Lansing, whatever. Like they had.
So what if you put your car going to
It happened.
Syracuse,
And
but
then
then you get called up?
Yeah, it happens, man.
So what do you do? Your car's in one place.
You better trust the clubby and the trainer that they're like, hey, my car's getting there. Like, maybe on an off day, you fly out there and you go pick it up. And
No way.
Yeah, man.
That's when you call the ace.
Yeah.
That's why you need good friends to just come out there and show up, right?
But yeah, I mean, it's happened a lot where guys get sent one place or they send, because sometimes they had trucks too, like where you can put your personal belongings. So you're not carrying all your luggage and clothes and blankets, TVs. This big ass like truck, and you pack it all up, and they're like, okay, this stuff is going to New Hampshire, and then it doesn't wait till the rosters are out, so you're kind of gambling. If you're on the bubble, like you're gambling big time.
Ooh.
Yeah, so yeah, some days like, oh, I made the AAA roster.
There might be some guys like, I'm going to Toronto.
No, Toronto's different because you're not, unless you're on that big league side, then
Okay.
the clubbies know.
The clubbies
they have a pretty good idea, yeah.
Like those guys who get released the last couple of days of spring training.
Yeah.
See, I tell you, all that stuff.
All that stuff is like the worst part, man. Like when I was in the minor league side, where you're just like, you're walking, and then like there's a coach outside, and he's like, all right, you.
No.
And
So you saw that, huh?
Oh yeah, you see it all.
So okay, take me back to when you weren't on the 40-man roster, like 7, 8, when you know you're gonna go to AAA, right?
No, or double A.
Or double. Okay, so you get invited to major league, big league camp, but then I always see the reports that so and so got sent to minor league camp. What does that mean?
So it means you just go back down, and
Different clubhouse?
Yeah, usually, yeah.
Different food?
It's not the same treatment. I don't know how it is now. Like I said,
But back then?
Yeah. Like even with the Giants, when I was at the Giants, I went to big league camp, and then when you get sent down, it's like completely different.
Clubhouse smaller.
Yeah.
Different attitude.
Yeah, but like I said, maybe they've changed some stuff up, but it wasn't the nicest clubhouse.
So when you're in minor league camp, that's when guys are getting released all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's just a coach.
There's a certain period where they start releasing guys.
But there's a coach out there like, hey.
Yeah.
Like we see in Hard Knocks.
And then you watch the guy pack his locker up crying, and then you're like, you never knew what that feeling was till I got released, till when the Blue Jays in 2015 said, all right, we're releasing you. And you're like, okay. You're sitting in, when I got released, me, the GM, and then a few other coaches, and you're just like, okay. And you don't know what to think. And then I remember walking down the hallway, and just like, you kind of give yourself a big breath, and you're like, and then you start crying because you're like, damn, like this, for me, was home for 10 years, and now I got to go and pack up this locker in front of some of the guys I know, and everyone's like talking. You walk into the clubhouse, and then boom, quiet, and everyone's just. I'm like,
that was in spring training when they released you?
No, it was during season.
Oh, during the season.
I was rehabbing, yeah, and it just wasn't working out. But like when I got released by the Giants, I was throwing a bullpen, getting ready for a start. I had to start the night or the 2 nights before. That went really bad. And like I said, it's never a good feeling. Like you feel like, you're getting fired pretty much out of your job. And coach called me in, and he's like, hey man, I've been fighting for you, and they're going to move in a different direction. I was like, oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And it doesn't hit you till you're cleaning up that locker. And I was hoping.
You were in uniform when he told you this?
Yeah.
So you had just thrown a bullpen?
Yeah.
And he grabbed you.
But like, it's like I was beating everyone, trying to beat everyone because they were coming in from BP, so I didn't want anybody to see me, and then like everyone just kind of like starts putting your arm around you, and I spent a little bit of time with those guys, but I know I made a good impact in a lot of those guys, so it was like the way they treated me, it was awesome. Like the teammates I had that year in Sacramento, and so that's where it hurts. You say bye to those guys, and you're like, you're in a bit of tears and stuff like that. And I just went back to my locker, to the hotel, packed up my hotel, took a flight to Sacramento, packed up the whole place there, and then drove down. And yeah, man, it's different. And then I signed obviously with, the only time I didn't cry was when I left TJ. But You
That's a
know,
different story.
that's a different
That's a
story.
different story.
Yeah.
Different podcast. We don't have
Yeah.
enough battery for that. But isn't it crazy that that's what people, for parents who are pushing their kid to play on 4 different travel teams when they're 8 years old, and like it happens so fast, where you were the sensation in Toronto. You were in the minor league camp. I mean, you're in big league camp as a minor leaguer. Everybody's looking at you, and then to come full circle where everybody's hugging you because you're on your way out, and you just said it. You take that big breath, like, and you cried. The emotions are crazy.
I think the one thing I always told myself was like, just be a good person, good teammate, more than anything. And I think guys are gonna respect you because of that. And to this day, I've been able to keep in touch with a lot of friends because of that. And like I said, I'm not one guy that sits there and brags about who I know or who I don't know, or who I did what with. I just know that the guys I do keep in touch with, and some guys reach out to me, and I always find that pretty cool, you know. Even when I head back to Toronto, you know, and you see the younger generation, the Bichettes, the Guerreros, and they come up to you and, you know, they say hi and stuff like that. You're like, damn, these guys are the young studs, the young superstars, you know. But I think there's a certain respect level that we have for each other, because I think some of those guys had just signed when I was, you know, pitching, and so they know a little bit about me. So you know, at the end of the day, it's a big fraternity, and like I said, I always pride myself in making sure I was a good person and never stepping on anybody's toes. That's why my first camp, I was like, just like, all right, am I doing the right thing? Who's watching? You know, just making sure I don't disrespect anyone or the game.
You're a big proponent of enjoy the moments. I think because early in your career you didn't enjoy them.
No, I don't think so. I think it was just everything was so new to me. Like I said, I mean, it's one thing to go from East LA to Fullerton, but you're still kind of in the same vicinity, you know, of your hometown. But then you're so far away, and you know, it's just everything's just different. Everything was like I said, there's no open manual or somebody saying like, okay, this is what you got to do, and this is hey, you got to be here. Stretches at 9:30. You have to realize and come up with when you're going to show up. All right, if it stretches at 9:30, what time do I have to be there? Nobody's saying like, hey, you have to show up 2 hours early. Doc Halladay was there 4.5 hours early, you know, but that was because of him. So it just depends on the player. And I always told like the one thing I did here as a young rookie or young pup, just don't be the last guy in the clubhouse. You know, don't show up the last. Don't be the last one to show up. Make sure you're there at a good time. So that part I understood right away. So like I said, I couldn't wait to get to the clubhouse.
But you also, I think part of the reason, like, one, you're a good dude, but part of the reason why when I hear you talk to young kids, or like you're like me, I'll speak to anybody who wants to be a reporter or journalist. I'll talk to anybody. You're the same way with anybody who is a kid who's playing. You not reach out to them, but if they come out to you, you become a big mentor to them. And it's always about, I've heard you, enjoy it, because you didn't expect to have injuries end your career after 4.5 years. You were expecting 10, 12, 15 years, Absolutely. All that stuff. I think everybody does that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say you have regrets, but is that one of the biggest things, that you weren't able to enjoy the early parts because you were so locked in on trying to get there? Because you said you didn't collect anything. You didn't keep any mementos. Yeah.
I mean, I think so. I think I just never really got caught up in a certain moment. I was just like, you know, if I did something good, I want it to be better. You know, and I don't think I ever really sat back at times and was like, man, like, it's okay to enjoy it. You know, even in 2011 when I had that good year, I was like, I went into that offseason, I'm like, I got to work harder.
Yeah.
Why? You know, why did I do that to myself? And it's fine. Like I said,
yeah, you work hard, but also enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah. And I look back and I'm like, now that I'm retired, I want to travel everywhere. And I'm like, why wasn't I doing this after all those good years, you know, in 2009, 10, 11, just reward myself. You know, I think that's one of the biggest things. Roy Halladay one day left me on a text message. At the end of the day, make sure you just reward yourself, whether it's good or bad. You know, because if it went bad, just think about if you executed every pitch. If you did, and you know you work hard, it shouldn't matter. You know, whether the outing went the way you wanted to or it didn't. You know, you should still reward yourself no matter what, if you know you work hard. Obviously, if you're not hard,
that's a different story.
Yeah, that's
that wasn't you.
Yeah,
there was no question you were going to put the work in.
Yeah, so I mean, so all that stuff. It's just like I said. Yeah, I wish I would have just.
Well, you didn't even golf.
I was good about staying in the moment, but that's the other thing.
You didn't golf when you're like, every pitcher I know goes to Florida and they golf.
Yeah, because and Toronto has some of the most
And you
beautiful.
didn't
Of
do any
course,
of that?
no.
I mean, not that it's like right, not that you were a golfer anyways or anything, but you were so locked in on doing being professional. Great, but you got to also have that chance to breathe. I know you tell high school kids that too. Breathe.
Yeah, there wasn't an outlet, and that's what I tell myself now. You know, I mean, you got to have an outlet. You like you said, some of these kids play year round, or you know, like I said, that's another conversation for another day. But it's okay to have an outlet, and for me, yeah, now it's golf. It's hanging out with my kids, whether it's taking Sebastian to school, you know, all that stuff. It's just time that you get to kind of have a little bit to yourself and between you and your son, and you know, our conversations, it might be like less than 10 minutes to get to that school, but our conversations there are priceless. You know, sometimes it's just the funniest things that comes out of kids' mouths.
Well, that's what people always say, that they don't miss the game, they miss the camaraderie.
100%.
Putting on the uniform.
100%. Yeah, I was there for Vladdy's debut last year in Toronto, and I remember sitting in the dugout, and I looked at somebody was next to me, and I said, "Man, I miss this. I don't miss that." And the guys were warming up. I miss everything about the clubhouse, everything about the camaraderie. I don't miss the preparation, you know, just because I know towards the end of my career how hard it was on my body,
the grind,
and mentally and physically and all that. So, so yeah. But I mean, but obviously with now trying to get back into the game, you know, I got some learning I got to do. So, whether it's analytically, biomechanically, you know, I want to understand more of what teams are looking for. So that's the venture I'm kind of jumping into now, where, you know, I've been going to this facility, and just kind of learning they're more about biomechanics and making sure the body moves right. And I want to learn that. I want to see, okay, what is it that teams are looking for, because I have experience as a player, but it doesn't hurt to know a little bit more, you know, of what's going on, and adapt a little bit. I mean, it's not all bad, you know. I think sometimes, you know, like old school players get caught up in the whole like, oh, it's so analytical. Well, I mean, maybe it is, but maybe
evolving.
You just
you evolved from the kid who walked in, didn't even have blankets on your floor, to knowing everything. I was like, you have to constantly be evolving and continue to grow.
Yeah.
And that's what you see with the minor leaguers. Like, you went from being, where do I go, to being a clubhouse leader.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in the spring training, I remember, so my first spring training was 2005. I covered the Angels. I was a producer for the radio, and that's where I met Vlad Guerrero. And I'm like, Jose Mota told me, before you go, here's what you do your first day. He's like, if a guy's reading, leave him alone. Mm-hmm. If a guy's chair is facing away from the media and he's looking in his locker, leave him alone. Because for, you know, media, we do interviews in the morning because it's like 7 in the morning. He's like, but if a guy has his chair facing at you, talk to him. Cool. If they have headphones on, leave them alone. Like, all these little things that help me out. And I would see, and I'm scared of my first time ever in a clubhouse. I had done hockey before. In hockey, everybody's nice to you.
Yeah.
Baseball, that's what I learned. And he's like, just go up to the Latin guys and say hi, say hola. And I'm like, well, you know, Jose, I don't need to talk to him. He's like, no. Say hi to everybody. Be nice to everybody. He goes, and they'll remember that later on down the road.
Yeah.
You know? That's where that I talked to him, and I just said hi. And he's like, oh. And Jose Moto's with me. And he's like, Jose, with you? Like, yeah. He goes, all right, give me a fist bump. Like, okay, cool. Like, I was like, I'm not on Jose.
Yeah.
Benji Molina, one of the nicest guys, and everything else. But like, that was, for me, I learned these guys have their own little routines. I didn't know anything as a reporter. I wasn't even a reporter then. I was a producer.
And there's certain guys that you just want to stay away from.
Yeah.
Like Doc was so intimidating that even if he was facing the media, you still would kind of be like... I knew
Bartolo Colon, you don't go anywhere near Bart. Like, you just leave him alone.
Yeah, there's certain guys that you just leave alone, and they'll give you the time of day when they feel like
That's what it was. Orlando Cabrera told me for 3 days in a row, he'll give me the interview. He's like, come back tomorrow. Finally, that Friday, I was like, you know, I'm done with him. I don't need him. And he's like, Friday, are you ready now? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like him. Then I realized it was him testing me. But in the mornings, when you guys do your own meetings, is that where like they do like the skits and like they make rookies kind of do stuff?
I think that's more of a new thing.
Is that a new thing?
I know
the Dodgers do a lot of that. Angels do a lot of that.
I know Mike Scioscia did it big time. Yeah.
Scioscia gives you guys homework.
Yeah, we never did that. We never got into it like that. It's usually just the simple meetings, you know. That's it. I mean, in with the Giants, the minor league side is pretty cool because they bring a lot of the old school guys. I mean, the history there is crazy, you know, from Willie Mays to Gaylord Perry, you know, and
so Willie Mays was talking to you guys?
He'd be in the clubhouse every day.
What?
In the big league clubhouse, yeah. Every day. The first time I was like, oh, shit, that's Willie Mays. Yeah, one regret I have is not getting an autographed jersey by him. But I was so, like, scared to ask him. Like, it's like, I'll just take a picture. I'm good.
Yeah.
But
did you get a picture?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I did. And obviously his health is declining. Yeah. He can
but that's
barely
what he
see.
To say, hey, kid.
I know. And
he's one of those guys who probably has a presence, right?
They had Jeff Kent come in one day, and I mean,
Kent.
He's a little different.
He's like, different. He's from Huntington Beach. Went to Cal, and then he's like a cowboy.
Yeah.
Like, go figure.
Yeah. But, you know, like I said, it's like...
Damn, Willie Mays, huh?
Willie Mays. But, yeah, with the Blue Jays, yeah, a lot of it was just meeting. You know, in spring training, they go over all the rules, like guys who are going to break with the team. They tell you what's going on in Toronto, how the crime scene is at, or whatever. Like, you know, if there's crime or what places...
What to do.
What areas to stay away from. You're going into a different country, obviously.
I'll check customs.
They ask if you have a criminal record, because some guys in the past hadn't said no. And
if you get a DUI, you can't get in.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. So you got to let the Blue Jays know and all that stuff. So it's different, you know. So yeah, and like I said, it's a lot of those meetings. I remember there was like social media meetings, you know, where hey, watch what you post. This is after like in 2012, 13. But other than that, like I said, it was just
a lot of meetings.
And
then when you're playing a game, or for fans who are going to spring training, like you guys will sign before, right? Like if you're a better status veteran, you sign before the game. That's where you want to get them, right? You want to get them early in the morning, right?
Before or in Dunedin, you used to have to walk to the clubhouse, and the fans would be able to like. So I'd stop there.
But during a game, like if you're going to a spring training game, most of you guys aren't even there, right?
No.
You watch your one inning and leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the key. If you're going to spring training, you want the
autograph. This is what I said. It's tough, like the first few games, because there's like 60 guys in camp.
Yeah.
You don't want to have a dugout that's completely full. So the coaches are like, hey, whoever's not pitching, you can take off, you know, or watch an inning or two and then take off, you know. And it keeps the dugout from being crowded. And again, if somebody blows you for an autograph, they're not an asshole. They're not mean. It's just, you know, sometimes there's stuff they got to do, you know, and you have to respect that.
That's it.
But you know what? I mean, like I said, I know people get crazy about them, and
that's it.
And whenever there's chances, a lot of those guys sign anyways.
So you had Roberto Alomar, Paul Molitor, John Olerud.
You broke the back.
Olerud helmet fell off. But you had these guys. In camp, you see these guys. Like that's the cool thing about baseball is like.
Well, we saw Robbie a lot. The other two we didn't. Paul was managing.
He was managing.
Yeah.
But I was saying with the Twins at the time. But when you see these veterans come back,
crazy.
Young guy, right?
Crazy. Robbie Alomar, George Bell. I mean, Tim Raines.
Raines.
I mean, all that's like those guys, and just to like realize, like when they see you, it's like they see a family member. You know, it's a big hug and how are you and. It's like you're part of the family, and I mean, spending time with Rock at Winterfest, it's like, Ricky Rowe, what's up, dude? Yeah. And it's like, yo, what up, Rock? You know, and like,
I still got to take that trip to Toronto with you, man.
The status,
I gotta go.
You know, they might be Hall of Famers, but they're still incredible.
I just want to go hang out with the crime dog, Fred McGriff, man.
He's the best.
Fred McGriff.
He's the best.
As always, the podcast is brought to you by 101cider.com. Go and check out 101 Cider House. Ricky invested in it, gluten-free. Non-GMO. Today's beverage, I'm going to take home with me. Don't tell your wife. Banana split.
It's bomb,
Is
man.
it?
Oh, yeah. We went to a party, and I had about 7 of those. And it hits it pretty hard, though, after a while.
Banana
no
split
hangover,
with pineapple. It's it. So that's today's flavor. Go 101cider.com. Check them out. See where they're at, where you can get it. As always, rate, review, subscribe. Let people know what's going on. The YouTube, keep on going with it. The podcast, keep on going with it. Stickers, they're in demand right now. They're in demand. I'm going to put on a helmet, a Blue Jay helmet. We're going to keep on going. It was pretty cool. Nice little trip down memory lane with spring training.
For sure.
So if you guys are going to spring training, make sure you guys get there early for the autographs. And
maybe we'll do a segment. We'll do like we did with the podcast where we'll have some questions and maybe we can answer them now through this new YouTube channel.
Oh, man, you want to get all complicated. Give me more work. Well, if you want me to give me more work, I need more one-on-one stuff.
That's fine.
Go check them out. RickyRowe24 on Instagram, Beto Vision on Instagram. And then, well, just look at the tag. We'll get there. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks a lot.